Biden apologizes to Ukraine's Zelenskyy for months-long holdup to weapons that let Russia make gains.
Here's a summary of the article.
Paris. President Joe Biden on Friday for the first time publicly apologized to Ukraine for a months-long congressional holdup in American military assistance that let Russia make gains on the battlefield. A day earlier, the two had attended ceremonies marking the 80th anniversary of the D-Day landings in Normandy, where Biden had drawn common cause between the Allied forces that helped free Europe from Nazi Germany and today's effort to support Ukraine against Russia's invasion, and Zelenskyy had been greeted with a rapt ovation. "I apologize for those weeks of not knowing what's going to happen in terms of funding," Biden said, referring to the 6-month holdup by conservative Republicans in Congress to a $61 billion military aid package for Ukraine. Related coverage. Zelenskyy pressed for all Americans to support his country's defense against Russia's invasion, and he thanked lawmakers for eventually coming together to approve the weapons package, which has allowed Ukraine to stem Russian advances in recent weeks. During their meeting, Zelenskyy shared a very frank assessment with Biden about conditions on the ground and the pressure that Ukraine continues to face from Russia, especially in the Donbas region, according to John Kirby, the White House's national security spokesman. Biden cast the additional aid in his meeting with Zelenskyy as money to reconstruct the electric grid in Ukraine. A reference aides said was to additional air defense and missile defense systems in the new package. Easing their stance amid Russia's most recent onslaught and with Ukraine's army reeling, some NATO allies including the US said last week they would allow Ukraine to use weapons they deliver to Kyiv to carry out limited attacks inside Russia.
This post received a score of 5,400, with an upvote ratio of 94%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
As the shallow mass graves and torture chambers found in reclaimed territory remind us, the fight is not for land, it's for the people who live there. It matters when the front moves.
The really dark part? That is absolutely nothing compared to what's to be discovered. Mariupol is going to be an opera of nightmares when liberated. Stand among the ruins of the bombed-out theater GOP. The one housing children and refugees that Russia deliberately targeted. Asks the ghosts of tens of thousands of dead about the price of your inaction.
I'm afraid most of the horrors will never be uncovered. They've had plenty of time to hide the crimes. Time they didn't have in other places. Then again, the Nazis' atrocities during and before WW2 were eventually uncovered, even years or decades after.
The Nazis basically documented everything they did. All you needed to do to uncover their crimes was leaf through their own archives. I doubt the Russian military does the same.
True, but at the same time we didn't have things like spy satellites that could spot mass graves being dug back in WW2.
Exactly, there's tons of material to be analyzed that is not available to the public yet. This will probably be the most documented war in history, simply because of how technology has advanced. The information is likely already being stored, whether it's satellite imagery or TikTok videos. It will all be analyzed at some later date.
Some people say apologizing makes you look weak. I disagree. Apologies are the superglue of social interactions. They can fix a lot of things, and it takes incredible strength to apologize, even more so on behalf of others. President Biden, that's a show of strength to me.
People who don't apologize out of fear of looking weak are some of the weakest people out there.
Similar to the paradox of people not doing things because it doesn't seem manly, when altering your actions out of fear of not seeming manliness is in itself a non-manly attitude.
One of my buddies refuses to buy a battery-powered weed whacker because they're not manly. This guy's so insecure that yard tools are what he thinks makes him a man.
What a weird thing to be hung up on. Battery-powered lawnmowers are also a total joy, assuming you don't have land so big you need a riding mower.
This is how a leader and statesman behaves.
Yep, it wasn't even his fault, but he apologized anyway.
Because it was the right thing to do. It's not about appearing weak, as someone else would see this. Rather, it's about doing the right thing, in front of the whole world, so as to hold ourselves to a higher standard of accountability. And to reinforce our willingness to provide support, as best we can, in spite of what is going on at home. These are the actions and behaviors that build trust in a relationship. Thank you, President Biden, for doing the right thing.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.